Imagine coming home from a 6-month deployment in Jordan, ready to sink into the peace of your backyard lake, only to find it's a muddy crater because some HOA tyrant decided to flex her power while you are gone. That's my story, and let me tell you, it's not just about a lake, it's about fighting a suburban dictator who thought she could bully a soldier and get away with it. This is how I turned her game upside down and made her regret ever crossing me. I'm Ethan Caldwell, Army engineer, and I just dropped my life savings on a house in Maplewood Grove, Virginia, place I called my sanctuary, with a shimmering lake out back that could hush the chaos of years in combat. I dream about that water on tough nights overseas, picturing quiet evenings with a fishing rod, maybe a cold beer. But 3 days after moving in, I met Karen Whitmore, the HOA president who walked like she owned the neighborhood and smiled like she was plotting your downfall. She showed up at my door, yellow blazer screaming I'm the boss, her blonde bob so perfect it looked like it came with a warranty. Welcome to Maplewood, she purred, handing me a rule book heavy enough to knock someone out, her eyes darting to my lake with a glint of something nasty envy, maybe, or worse. She nitpicked everything. My grass was a 1/4 inch too long, my mailbox too vibrant. I saw the way she stared at my water, like it was a personal insult, and I knew this lady's gonna be a problem. I played it cool, though, with the deployment looming. I nodded, repainted my mailbox her approved shade of boring, trimmed the lawn to her sacred specs. Tactical retreat, you know. At the first HOA meeting, I pitched a game changer, a pedestrian bridge to link our neighborhood to a new shopping district. My unit could build it, I had the contracts, and it'd jack up property values by 20%. People were buzzing, already counting their equity, but Karen. She sat there, face like a storm cloud, fingers tapping like she was coding my eviction. Her eyes locked on my plans with a flicker of something dark resentment, I figured later. I should have seen the warning signs, but I was shipping out, so I let it slide. Then, a week before I left, Karen sent an email that hit like a sniper's warning shot. Dear Captain Caldwell, it started, all fake sweet, we'll keep a close eye on your property for community safety while you're gone. It was signed with her title in letters big enough to see from space, and my gut screamed, she's coming for you. I was right. 3 weeks into Jordan, my buddy Mike Torres called, voice shaking. Ethan, that psycho Karen drained your lake. Called it a health hazard. It's a mud pit now. I felt my chest tighten, vision blurring. She'd held a sham HOA meeting while I was in a comms blackout, illegal, no quorum, just her and her lackeys waving a fake report about mosquito risks. Her cousin's crew pumped my lake dry at dawn, Karen directing them with a smirk like she was starring in her own revenge flick. The report was garbage, doctored photos and made-up science, but she timed it so I couldn't fight back. Mike sent a photo of her standing by the wreckage, grinning like she'd won a war. That image burned into my brain, fueling me through every dusty day overseas. I called Rachel Kim, my lawyer, a legal ninja who'd handled my unit's contracts. This is war, I told her. She dove in, tearing apart Karen's emergency meeting. It was as legit as a dollar store Rolex. The report. Pure fiction, citing rules that didn't exist. Then Karen had the nerve to send me a $9,000 bill for remediation, charging me for hazardous water removal and her time watching my lake die. Her signature sprawled across it like she was autographing her victory. I told Rachel to dig into Karen's past. Nobody goes this hard unless it's personal. Army life taught me, crazy like that always has a root. Rachel hit gold. 7 years ago, Karen was a real estate hotshot with a plan to turn Maplewood into her personal gold mini condos, malls, the whole deal. It crashed when environmental rules, tied to my lake's creek, blocked her. She lost everything: money, rep, even her marriage. My bridge project. It had unlocked that same land, making it profitable again. I was living her failed dream, and my lake was the symbol of her defeat. This wasn't about rules, it was revenge. Rachel sent a cease and desist that hit like a missile, listing every violation, threatening lawsuits, even criminal charges for targeting a deployed soldier. Karen's response. She spammed me with fake citations, my lawn was unkempt, my mailbox non-compliant, even noise complaints from my empty house. The kicker. A fine for the unsightly mud pit she made. It was like getting robbed and billed for the getaway car. Each notice had her giant signature, dripping with petty glee. That's when Mike dropped a twist I didn't see coming. He'd been at a bar, overheard Karen's cousin bragging about the lake job, saying Karen promised him a cut of some shady land deal tied to the creek. It wasn't just personal, it was a hustle, and my lake was collateral damage. I saw my move. The bridge contract had a clause: if the HOA acted in bad faith, we could hold the project, tanking everyone's property values. Rachel drafted a notice, pausing the bridge due to leadership conflicts. It was polite, professional, and a gut punch, framing Karen as the neighborhood's betrayer. The reaction was chaos. Homeowners freaked, their 20% value spike vanished. Buyers bailed, loans froze, and investors, with millions on the line, were livid. Neighbors turned on Karen, demanding she step down. She called me, voice cracking with panic. "You're ruining me position, my life." I kept it cold. "Karen, you ruined yourself when you touched my lake. You picked this fight, not me." She tried a last-ditch stunt, calling an HOA meeting to claim my lake was community property based on a 1970 survey. She stood there, projector flickering, waving a faded map like it was her salvation, her voice shaky as she spun a tale of duty. Rachel had already pulled the real records. That community lake. Never built, scrapped for environmental reasons. The surveyor. Karen's dad, Harold Whitmore, a hack who'd lost his license for screwing up maps like this. I stood up, room going quiet, and laid it out: the illegal meeting, the fake report, her vendetta tied to her failed deal. Then I held up Harold's survey. "This is her father's work," I said, "a man disciplined for bad surveys that caused decades of disputes. She's not protecting you, she's settling old scores." The crowd gasped, Karen froze, her pointer hitting the floor. Neighbors glared, one whispering, "She's done." I gave an ultimatum: pay for my lake's restoration, apologize publicly, resign, and let new leadership take over. The vote was a landslide, 89-3. The room cheered as Karen slunk out, rain tapping the windows like a victory drum. My lake was back in weeks, the bridge roared ahead, value soared. 3 months later, I sat on my dock with Mike and Rachel, beers in hand, the sunset turning the water to gold. "To real neighbors," Mike said, "and bullies who learn the hard way. But here's the rub: Karen's gone, but HOAs still breed power trips like hers. Was I too harsh, or did she deserve it? What's your HOA horror story? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about justice, bullies, or if I crossed a line. I'm all ears.